multiplying complex numbers is not too bad. You just have to remember that, some facts about the number I. In fact, I squared is -1. So anytime you see an I squared, you should immediately replace it with -1 to make the calculations easier. So if I ask you to multiply, for example, 2I times the quantity 3 plus 6I, you're multiplying the complex number 2I by the complex number 3 plus 6I. You do just as you'd imagine. You distribute the 2I, and you end up with 6I plus 12I squared. Okay? But you should never have I squared in your final answer because I squared is -1. So you end up with 6I plus 12 times -1, which is 6I minus 12. And we typically would write that as -12 plus 6I, because I'll remind you that complex numbers are usually written in the form a plus bi. So this results in a complex number, -12 plus 6i. The key here was to remember that I squared is -1. Okay, what if you want to multiply two complex numbers that have two terms? So 3 minus I times 4 plus 5i. You do just as you'd imagine here as well. You distribute everything through. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5i is 15i. Negative I times 4 is -4i. And negative I times 5i is -5i squared. And just remember that I squared is -1. So I'm going to skip a step this time. 12 is 12. 15i minus 4i is 11i. And -5i squared. Well, I squared is -1 times this -5 is +5. So this is plus 5. And finally, 12 plus 5 is 17. So I get the complex number 17 plus 11i. Here's an example that looks a little harder, but it's really not. You just multiply like we did in the previous example. You could multiply the first two first if you wanted to, or you could multiply the second pair first. I'm going to do the second pair because one is plus and one's minus, and they happen to multiply very nicely. So that's what I'm going to do. Multiply these two. So I'm going to carry along my 2 plus I, and I'm going to put my result of this multiplication inside parentheses, and whatever I get I will then multiply by the 2 plus I. So 2 times 2 is 4. I times -I is -I squared. Then we have a 2i and a -2i, which cancel. That's why they multiply so nicely, because that middle term cancels out and you just end up with 4 minus I squared. But you need to remember that I squared is -1, so you can rewrite this as 2 plus I times 4 minus -1, which becomes 4 plus 1. So now you just have 2 plus I times the number 5, and then you just distribute the number 5 through here. So you get 10 plus 5i. And that is the result of multiplying these three complex numbers. You get a new complex number here, 10 plus 5i.